Okay. Welcome back to Manchester by Night. We're going to start tonight's session with a bit of a recap, welcoming back two players who have been gone for a while due to things. Um,
Ow.
what? It is
Oh,
life
oh no,
things.
I've just reprocessed what you said. You said due to things. You didn't just call us things. You two things. Petulant things.
I mean, you are a pair of undead things.
I didn't say that out loud.
So, now, Jax has been gone a bit longer than Wolf. Um, I'm trying to remember where we were up to when you left. Um,
Wasn't it just after the library?
hmm. It was just after. I think it was just after you retrieved the starved gangrel. Was the last time we had Jax. Because he was definitely there for the fight of it.
Ah, so Jax hasn't met the adopted
I don't
one.
think Jax never met the adopted vampire, no.
We have the adopted vampire.
Yeah.
You're all collectively remembering your own game.
It has been a
It's
while.
You
It's
don't
been
usually
simple.
adopt people and forget about them so quickly, personally, but you know, I get it. I get it. Sometimes
they're
it's
not
just children and you just
I,
forget about them.
I
they're
mean,
not
Right in the
responsible
last
for
month.
this vampire.
our resident Nosferatu is responsible for them as they are Nos.
Yeah, they kind of said, "You're a Nosferatu, you look after the baby Nosferatu." Um and then it turns out he's like the sneaky type of Nosferatu and she very much isn't. Um but after you retrieved the starved gangrel, you brought him back to the Baron, and he has been under the Baron's care since then. Um, in between, the Baron sent you on a few other little jobs, hunting down a vampire who was dabbling in sorry,
The
diablerie.
Jaffa.
Um, they were dabbling in diablerie, the consuming of other vampires. Your group went to hunt them. The confrontation was handled quickly by your Nosferatu friend Zane, who managed to stake the vampire, putting him into torpor. In this vampire's lair was where they found the young Nosferatu. After bringing him back, everyone had a bit of downtime to kind of go about and do things and handle things. Wolf and Lillian went to do a bit of grave robbing. Kaz went back to the music house. Zane was skulking around and got semi-abducted by Mallory. Um, so while Wolf and Lillian were doing a bit of grave robbing, they came across another kindred. One who is not part of either fact, is not part of the Anarchs or the Camarilla. And is instead part of a third faction called the Sabbat. The Sabbat are basically anarchy overall, don't care if humans know about us, we deserve to be in charge of the lesser beings a lot of the time. Um, After that, they properly encountered Mallory, um, who wanted to add Zane to her collection of bloodbound kindred. Um, and they promised to give Mallory one of the Daughters of Cacophony in exchange for information about the targets they were hunting. They asked some questions, but found that they still had a lot more. So Mallory asked them to go find another one of her collection who had gone missing. This led them to a bar and a grouping of tunnels underneath said bar. Going through the tunnels, they found torture room, a chained young guru, and a bunch of silver powder. And also
Yes.
a strange other kindred there, also following the same track, looking for the same person. Um, but
Hmm.
as you ventured further in, deeper and deeper into the tunnels, through tight, narrow passages, and disconcerting scenes, they did eventually find the kindred they were looking for. And promptly shoved him in a trunk and took him back to Mallory. Amongst all this as well, they had ventured down into other tunnels, discovered the existence of child kindred, more child kindred. Um, Wolf was tried to kill one, but the other one pulled the one he was trying to kill away.
Chuck.
I would never. Okay, you got me. I would.
And they were informed during this of the existence of a white, a vampire that had lost themselves to the beast fully. Um, the white was being hunted by a gangrel, an older gangrel. But the group now stands before Mallory, in which at this point may as well just be her home, despite the fact that Anik's the one that owns it. And yeah, the party is about to ask their next set of questions. Um, Jax, we had it initially to where you went back to the fight pits, um, back to managing those, and kind of, doing your normal thing for a while. And Wolf has been stalking after the party sometimes, and then other times he's been off doing his own thing.
It's only when I find them interesting, which is
Mm-hmm.
not as often as they think.
But Wolf was with them this time when they were going to see Mallory again. Um, and Jax, you would have received word on your coteries' whereabouts if you wanted to go and try and catch up with them.
No, I just thought I'd show it. No, of course, yeah. I'm a menace. I'm not that big of a menace.
So as you are all stood in the kind of like foyer area where Mallory is greeting you, leading you in for tea, um, of which everyone has very much gone, we don't really want to drink the tea this woman's offering us multiple times already. But she still offers it anyway.
We don't want to drink the tea, we want her to spill the tea. There's a difference.
Tea is the
True.
symbol of English oppression.
And as you're kind of walking in, there is at the door. And Anik is not here this night. So she'll just kind of look back to you all and go, someone get the door. So who's going to open the door?
Zane isn't here.
Zane's not going to do it. One of
I'll
you two.
be the gentleman of the group, and I'll open the door.
Wolf, you open the door and see a
Hello.
towering brouhaha that you haven't seen in a while. Jax.
I
Who the fuck are you?
was starting to think I'd have to open the door myself. I'm really glad that you decided to. Let a man in.
Nope. Wolf closes the door. No, I'm kidding. Wolf has the door. No, he does close the door and then like opens the door again.
What's the password?
For you? Handsome.
Well, he opens the door and goes, well, if you're going to play that game, all right.
You step into this old kind of townhouse. And this is actually the first time you've met Mallory, as this very tall, pale woman with very large eyes whose pupils seem to take up almost all of them. She's very pale, but she's got like ashy skin. And she doesn't almost like a tinge of blue to it, and she doesn't look even remotely human for the
I
most
was
part.
told that my compatriots had perhaps made a few interesting friends along the way since I'd last spoken to them, but you certainly trying to emphasize that point with everything.
Don't look at me. This wasn't my fault.
He says, looking over at the Nosferatu.
It's kind of like, oh, isn't your new friend a charmer?
Oh, yes, for our manners. John Mahamna John.
He goes and sits down.
As I'm certain that neither of those names were either of our names, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jax.
Well,
Sort of
it's a pleasure
extends
to
a
meet
hand in a overtly Jax manner, which is probably with at least one additional wrist flip than is required.
She will reach out and take your hand. Her arm is very long and spindly, and so are her fingers. And she kind of grabs your hand and is like,
Mallory Marslin. At your service.
well, you're at my service if you're with these lot anyway.
Expected no other way.
If it helps, I'm in nobody's service. I'm just here because it's entertaining.
Of course. Jack
Just kind of-
says with the slightest eye roll.
Just kind of like looking you over. It's like, you are a very typical Bruja.
Suppose I never did try to escape the stereotypes too much. At all. In fact, I quite pretty openly embraced them, but that's besides the point. Right?
Well, all of you have a seat.
I'll remove my pet from his box later. No. Perhaps.
Oh, my pasta bake's ready.
Wait a minute.
Well.
Pasta Bex.
I didn't
Have you got
realize.
any like out of place in saying things like that?
I
So are
Mm,
didn't,
we gonna wait for him to come back, or
didn't realize those have been invented yet. They call me the weird one.
what pasta mixes? They were invented long before this point by the Italians.
Yes, but we're British, not Italian.
Yes, but
We
your
haven't
cuisine sucks.
we haven't gone to steal them yet.
Your cuisine sucks, and that's coming from the 1800s American.
Ah, that's how long the meme's been going.
The meme's been going much longer.
Well, all of you have a seat. Get yourselves comfortable. I'll get some tea.
Anik's not here this week at the moment, so she can't do it for me. Just kind of walks off into the kitchen.
Fruit, who
Well,
has taken up 3 seats, looks at all of you.
Yo, get your own.
man spreading.
Well, actually, vampire spreading.
well, catch me up. I've been busy. Mostly taking extra land on George Street, but that's besides the point, right?
Hmm, we do love a little bit of expansion.
Hmm. Got a few more, got a few more shops under the, very prestigious Mancunian Gentleman Society protection.
Oh,
Certainly making sure...
Santa.
Oh, he died. I guess I'll take one of
Wolf
his
has
chairs now, then.
zoned all the way out.
Quick, while he's not paying attention, I'm taking the middle seat that he's taken.
Leigh,
What?
14th.
I know, Friday.
Oh, Wolf's back.
I can't afford that at all.
I know, it's too soon. It got painful.
Oh, alright.
Sorry.
14th now.
I
That's-
just saw Leigh posted the new dates for the Riot Game Club, and it's painful. Why do they post them at such short notice? Oh,
Because they were too busy with
but
one
yeah.
day anyway.
Well, that's my side brought up. What have you all been up to? Clearly, you've been whining and dining with the higher society, right? Or at least I'd hope.
The man with a shovel, and then I buried his body. And then I unburied his body because I thought to myself he'd make better mushroom compost. Then I remembered I can't eat mushrooms. And then I remembered I don't have a composting bin. So I reburied the body, and I forgot where it is. I think he had children.
Well, can't exactly argue. If your objective was to go out there and get your money's worth out of a shovel.
Well, I suppose if you consider dining with the best, delving into tunnels underneath bars, anything.
Mallory kind of wonders a second. Well, technically, you were wandering around those tunnels with a very, very strong woman. So,
Yes,
what
she had
did
a
she
very
call herself?
interesting way of thinking.
Terra?
Para, something along those lines.
Here I
She
was
said it was
thinking I
because
was
you refused to give.
here I was
Go on.
thinking I would finally get some lip service, but oh well.
No. She when she came by earlier, she said you'd refuse to give her your real name, so she refused to give you hers.
Hmm.
I mean, to be fair, that's just meeting new people 101, is it not?
You're all so
It's also
paranoid.
it's also
Names are a
incredibly
dangerous
poor
thing.
man.
Although, to be fair, I did offer mine.
But not introducing yourself properly is very poor manners, young ones.
Poor manners that get you to stay around a bit longer.
Now, I hope that my manners coming through your door were just exemplary. I wouldn't show any less.
I don't know.
I
I've
don't
not,
give false names.
I've
That's
not
for
checked yet.
certain.
I've not checked yet, but I didn't hear any doors being knocked down, so I'm assuming yes.
And why are you giving false names? I thought your whole thing was getting your name out there. One scream after another, right?
Because it all depends on who has the name.
I don't think that really
Yes,
works when you're a singer, darling.
yes, but kindred are not fey, darling.
Hmm.
In fact, in some circles, having your name spread around could help or hinder. But it's always good to assume if someone. Hmm, it does very much depend on who you're talking to. But in terms of Hera, silly name, she may have been good for her to know your names, or you to know hers at least. Either way, what's done is done. She puts the tea down on the table and starts pouring everyone a cup.
Another one?
It is rude not to serve your guests refreshments.
I know, but you'd already bought us one. I'm starting to lose room in front of me.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Yes.
Hmm.
Oh. Well, you've got 2 cups now. Twice
Oh
tea.
no. After all of the alcohol I've taken in over the last week or so, I could do with something else.
Taken in and then just thrown it back up.
Actually, no. Jax has the thing that lets him take in the funny human foods.
Yeah, but you still can't digest it.
Yeah, but it doesn't come back up is the point. It just lets me have a cold one with the boys.
You still
Essentially,
got to
but
get it back up in some way.
essentially, but it lets you treat all human food as if it record. It will just make it through the system all the way.
Losing it through wounds. Gets stabbed and just comes out like a goddamn Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Yeah, so the eat food and drink thing, I've had that on my other character. You can consume food without effort and might even enjoy it. Though it gives no nourishment, it must be expelled before resting for the day.
I imagine there's still a hole down there.
You've got to. You don't digest it though.
I don't know. I've never been undead enough to know the answer to this question.
It doesn't move through your digestive tract.
He just
So-
pumps it back into the keg and then drinks it again.
Unless you've got like some modifications sending it through your body as a quote living being, I don't think you're going to be letting it out that half.
Yeah, he just stomach pumps have existed for quite a while, so he just stomach pumps it back into a keg and then re-drinks it.
Ew.
Yeah, well, it does say that you can't digest it, but I just assumed that meant you don't. I don't know.
It will
Don't
essentially
You don't
digest
know what
sit
he's
in your.
literally, rather than
It will just.
yeah, fair enough.
It will just sit in your stomach until you expel it, but you've got to expel it before you rest.
See, he's just fermenting his own booze.
Ah, yes, vampire gut booze.
Spaghetti scene from Rick and Morty. Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
Well,
Wouldn't
you did the
vampire
job.
Wouldn't vampire booze be a literal Bloody Mary?
Well, vampire booze is drinking from drunk people.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you find someone called Mary and you make her bloody.
Because when you drink from drunk people, you get to feel what they feel. You can go a little drunk.
Mhm.
Um. Anyway, she's like, so you have done what I asked. You completed your job. You dropped off my missing thing. Now, you have more questions?
Out of character, how many questions was it we get to ask her again?
You don't know.
Ah,
But luckily we've got 8 prepared.
yep.
It was the same last time as well. You didn't know how many questions
Hmm.
to let you ask before she stopped you.
I don't suppose you could tell us. Well, part. Whose territory would they be hiding in?
Hmm. They are hiding in. They are hiding in the territory of Montclair de Loc.
Okay, and whereabouts in said territory are they being housed?
They have taken over the crypt.
I feel like could have started with that question.
Given that it's the crypt and we've encountered such things before, how many supernatural presences are we dealing with here? Any ghosts, specters, that kind of thing? We need to know what we're up against.
Well, I'd expect a fair amount of spirity things, perhaps a shambling corpse, given the nature of our dear Montclair. Um, and of course the kindred themselves.
Hmm.
What about Kine? Should we be expecting any Kine threats or presences there?
Only if you're willing to go for a day walk, considering plenty of them
Leave
gather there during the day.
terminology issue here just to correct my associate. I don't believe they mean kind. I believe they might mean ghoul instead.
Ghouls or shades, perhaps?
Well, like I mentioned, spirits, perhaps a shambler. There could be a shade. Our dear Montclair is most certainly capable
All
of
right,
communicating with them.
then how
In terms
about
of
this moving?
ghouls, he does control two.
Can you give us a description of these ghouls so that we know who to look out for?
One is a fair young lady, tends to play the part of nun, and the other plays part of pastor, older male with salt and pepper, short hair, long beard.
Moving away
They are
from
ghouls.
moving away from such threats and such, let's talk about entry and exit points. Are there any that we should know about, anywhere that we can get in, and any that we can use to quickly get out in case things go south.
Hmm. To the territory itself or the crypt?
Probably both.
Hmm. We'll start with the territory. His territory is fairly wide, spanning a small parish. But there isn't so much as walls or gates up until you get to where he is housed. None of you have problem with Holy Land, do you?
Hmm.
Let me check my small personal cheat sheet of mine.
I have no dislike for holiness.
It's just some kindred have a thing about going places that are considered holy.
I wish that
Hmm.
taught me more.
I wouldn't know.
Your block threshold is you can't enter places unless you're invited.
I wouldn't
That's
know.
what the folklore block threshold is.
Out of character question, does it have to be the person that owns the place that invites me, or just someone who's inside the place that
No,
invites me?
it's got to be somebody who is inside on invitation.
Yeah.
So if it's somebody that lives there, like let's talk about an apartment complex. You don't need permission from the landlord. You can get
I
permission
would,
from anybody that lives within there, anybody that enters there. You can get it from a ghoul. So if
I
you
was,
send your ghoul in and they give you permission, that counts as well.
I was thinking more a case of if any of you lot broke in and then invited me in.
Yes, that's how that works. You just can't break in yourself.
Okay.
There are plenty of kine who live within that area, so you'll have to
Nothing.
be careful of that.
I've got nothing stopping me from entering Holy Land myself. Just she'll look to. My God, my brain's dying. Lillian,
Hmm.
and be like, just we need to do the usual deal. If we're entering somewhere new like this, you go first, and then you have to do the invite.
Of course.
Ah, so you've got that hang up.
Oh, the little quirk, I know.
Um, I've seen plenty of kindred who end up like that over time. Some just to collect them.
Hmm.
Just get more as they get older. Though some just perpetuate it for fun as well. But regardless, there are a lot of kine that do live within the vicinity of the place you're going, so you will have to be aware of that. It is not built up like the city, it is quieter. Strangers more easily noticed, sort of thing, you know. Um, but once you arrive at his place, Montclair's place of residence, there is a large iron gate and tall stone walls. Not much difficulty for our kind to get past.
Hmm.
Um, there is only a main and side entrance to the main building. The crypt is underneath the property itself. So, one second.
Hmm.
I love the idea since we're taking notes in the thread as well for all the answers. There's while we're asking the questions, and she's like answering, and we're just both there scribbling down the answers. Carry on.
Um, there are two entrances slash exits to the crypt. One within the main property, and another that takes you out to a nearby cemetery hillside.
Seems fairly standard.
Indeed. But speaking of the location, the area, what should we be expecting in terms of wards, defenses, alarms, traps, that kind of thing?
Hmm.
Because the last time we went somewhere, there was that barrel, and we don't want that situation again.
Seems to think for a minute. I have not been there, so my knowledge of the exact defenses may not be entirely correct. But given who Montclair is, and if he is working with them willingly, which I do not see him being pushed around by others easily, so there is a chance he will also be your enemy. The man is quite well versed in spirit work and sorcery. He could potentially have some nasty things waiting for you in the dark.
Hmm.
Now, in terms of other defenses, again, there is the usual kind of religious iconography for those who are slightly allergic to that, and not locks. Everything tends to be locked up. The man is kindred himself. He's no fool. So, hmm, I would think he would have some wards in place.
Hmm.
Well, is that all your questions?
I imagine this suggests that general hostility will be low the further out we are from the center.
Well, you are hunting your prey into their nest,
Hmm.
especially with a prey that is deemed unnatural and not to exist. They will fight harder than most to protect their lives, or unlives in this case.
Given the kind of person we're dealing with here, or the kind of kindred we're dealing with here, we can also assume that they probably got other enemies aside from us. Should we be expecting any potential third parties to be entering the fray while we're going in there that could potentially scupper plans?
Montclair has many enemies. He tends not to agree with the Baron on most things, only staying in the area to avoid the ire of the Camarilla itself, anyway. He is a greedy man. But amongst the community that he has made in his parish, he is fairly well liked. Though there is one that could interfere with your plans in that place. And not for so much being an enemy of Montclair, but there is a child of true faith in that parish. Those of true faith, well, let's just say, they are not good for us.
Then how do we deal with a child of true faith, should the need arise?
You kill it before it realizes what you are.
Hmm.
Preferably, you have someone that's not us do it.
As far as I know, this child has not yet reached the type where they can sense us. If they were to
Mm.
grow further, they could.
Do they
Sounds actually
know?
fledgling.
I do not know. All I know is Montclair's been keeping an eye on them.
Ah,
He is playing with fire, keeping it so close to the church he resides in. But
that's even worse as a true child of faith on sanctified grounds. Ah, what
yes,
kind of idiot is he?
one who believes keeping this child of true faith close would ward off any who wish to take his home.
Oh,
He
that's going to
believes
attract so many.
so long as this child does not know what he is, he acts as a deterrent for other kindred.
Oh, that's keeping a wolf. That's keeping a wolf pup in a sheep den, expecting the wolf pup to think it's a sheep.
Yep.
It's going to inevitably learn how to smell and then be able to tell what smells yummy and what doesn't. That's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. The Baron does not know of this child. Yet. He's been dealing with other things. And, well,
For
not
those,
very well in general.
for those of you that don't know why I'm disliking this, do you like feeling strong, powerful, and making everybody afraid of you? When you meet the child with true faith, or any individual with true faith, you're now the one who's going to feel afraid. As they literally take that beast inside of you and they push back.
Mm.
They can kill us with a mere thought.
And they are kind. Humans who possess the abilities to absolutely destroy kindred.
Poison meat in the supply.
Oh, if it were not so foolish to keep one, I would love one in my collection.
You
But I
could keep
don't.
its head.
That's true, its head.
I'm assuming at the fact that it is within a parish of ghouls and vampires that he doesn't know that it is of the true faith.
No, it has been
Thus, I'm
raised
assuming.
in that parish.
And yet it holds true faith. There
Yeah.
is. Oh, you can't even feed on the bastard. Why keep it around? Its blood is like poison.
Oh, and funny fact, you know how I was saying holy symbols don't really work on our kind most of the time?
Hmm.
They will if she's holding it.
Mm-hmm. If the true faith child is holding that
And that's with
holy iconography,
Gee,
and that's without them even knowing
knowing.
of their true self. Right.
From what I know about them, the ghouls keep a handle on them for the most part. Montclair interacts only to be the kindly grandfather to the child, but does not spend extended periods with them. For obvious reasons.
So what you're saying is, once the task is done, if we were to spot them on the way out and have a clear path and a clear shot,
Oh,
taking
look,
them.
if you can kill it, those things can become, well, I say things, but we're things to them, but you know what I mean. Those true faith people can become extinction level threats for kindred. I have heard some performing rituals, miracles they call them, that can just cripple our kind. If you're going to try and break into where that thing lives, you may want to cull the pup before it learns to play.
if you decide to do that, you cannot let it know what you are. You cannot let it see it coming, and you have to kill it in one shot. If there's even an ounce that it survives, it'll awaken. And then you're dealing with a true faith mage. Ah!
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about humans, they're squishy.
Hmm.
One shot in the right place should be
These
fine.
ones!
True faith is different. They are loved by something. Gods, angels, whatever beliefs you think exist. Whatever
Parasite.
is, yes, whatever is on the opposite end to us, they are loved by it. They're not so easy to kill, given they are naturally resistant to a lot of our abilities. And if it were to wake up and realize what it is, it will be able to tell that you are something foul. And it will know
Napoli
exactly what to
speeder.
do. Oh, and do not let it touch you, if you can help it. Like, you don't want that. Especially if it's holding a cross or a Bible or something.
The only way to really kill one for good is to cut off its head. At least at this age. Why is he keeping it? It's going to attract extremists.
I do not know his exact thinking. All I've been able to garner is that he believes that this will act as basically scary dog privilege,
Till it
keeping
learns
other
to fight the
kindred
master.
away from his interests.
And
The man
what?
is a greedy necromancer who
That's
wants
even
his.
worse.
I know, but
He's she's going to be able to see the oblivion. Ah.
you are not the only ones aware of the child. Of course, I'm aware of her too, but
Obviously.
there is one in town currently that could kill it fairly easily. She's killed a few in her time. But you were rather rude to her in the tunnels. I'm not sure if she'd be willing.
Well, here's the thing when it comes to that. She may not be willing to do it for us, but it's still an opponent that could take her or yourself out.
You overestimate how much she cares about it.
You overestimate how much kindred care about their own well identity in the face of survival and danger. Why do you think true faiths and hunters continue to run about? We're too busy fighting each other to do anything about them.
Plus, she is fighting something else at the moment. Something that does not have a clear way to combat. She is currently hearing the call of Gehenna. And trying to prolong her resistance. For you young ones, you may not even know that that is what's waiting for you, should you live long enough. But all of you will one day hear the call. If you survive, that is.
Unless you're salute.
Hmm. That's true.
Actually, come in handy. Jax!
Ah, starting to
You have
think we'd all
guns?
forgotten I was here.
Though you weren't saying anything.
Hmm.
I mean,
Truth be told, I've only really been told that my compatriots here are on a job. No one's really filled me in on what we're actually doing. I just hear a lot of things we need to hit and not a
We're
great
going
deal of
places, hitting
swinging.
people, killing things. Do you have guns?
Mm, yeah, I do happen to be a relative expert in this area, that is correct.
Good.
But
Faith children don't work on guns, only on discipline.
Hence why I was saying we don't need to get close to take them out. We just need the firepower.
You have to do it in one shot, though.
Nick
Well,
has a bunch of rifles upstairs.
I was about to say 2 or 3 shots, maybe 4, depending on how many people have guns and fire them all at the same time.
Even a second. That child fears death. Well, that's my bit of the strategizing. Have fun.
As foolish as he may be, you've got to admit it poses a challenge to anyone trying to infiltrate his domain.
Hmm.
Burn the church down.
Given the idea of even if we were successful and we took out the body, just the sheer fact that someone high up will have gone missing.
Oh, no, sorry. Apologies. You thought that ends when she died. No, you still can't touch the body.
No, I mean a
That's
case
the issue
of.
with Two-Face. Sacred fucking
No, I mean it more a
pigeons.
case of we take out the guy we're supposed to be taking out here. We take them out, and there's still the issue of even if the body is gone.
I mean, your
The,
target is not quite Montclair, it's who he's hiding.
yes, but there's still
I
going to be a
mean,
bit of disruption, a bit of concern, even if the kind don't understand why.
I mean, that's if you kill Montclair. Just put him in torpor and then leave.
Hmm.
Maybe leaving him alive, but hey ho. If you don't want to stir up anything. But either way, Montclair's going to get his one way or another. Given the fire he's playing with. Whether it be you or it be the child. Oh, you killing him might actually be a mercy.
Well,
Any more questions? Or is that all you have?
That seems like enough questions for now, unless somebody has one.
no. Anybody else?
I'm trying to give it a bit of thought before I definitively say no. After all, we were in this situation before.
Jax, do you prefer cricket or croquet?
I prefer rugby.
Ah! English football.
Can't really play anymore, though, really. It's a bit of an unfair advantage, right?
No,
I
You know
can never
how
find
many?
enough kindred to play with.
I can't think
Always
of
so
anyone.
busy doing little things, like killing each other mostly.
I remember in my youth playing sports with the friends. We used to grab spears after one another in the woodlands. Ah, we'd sometimes dress somebody up as a little goblins, send them on their way. They would chuck spears as they ran. We didn't need spears, we had guns, but we were just sadistic little bastards. Called it golf. Of course, at that point in time, none of us could speak English, and we didn't realize that golf was already a thing.
Of course.
Fascinating.
I can't remember. Am I playing a Gangrel or a Malkavian? Somebody please
Gangrel.
remind me.
Gangrel. Erring on the side of no madness.
Girls can err on the side of madness. Especially if you're a particular type of Gangrel.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, what?
I'm waiting.
For?
Whether you're done or not.
Oh,
Yeah,
are we
we're
Okay,
done?
Kaz.
no, I did say I was done.
Oh, I probably didn't
Right.
hear you. Because you said you were
Oh,
still thinking about it.
Yeah, and then halfway through Jackson Wolf talking, I went, no, I can't think of
why?
anything. I'm done.
Hmm.
Well, if that's all the questions you do ask. Then ask no more.
Ah,
Now what'll you do?
well, sounds to me like we have a little bit of a hunt to go on. Seems like there might be a lot of ends loose and otherwise on such a hunt. Honestly, more questions are just going to lead to more complications when those answers simply get muddled in the middle of our hunt, right?
Hmm.
I say we get on with it, whatever it is we're getting on with.
How'd you get to be so smart?
I mean,
Smart. Admittedly, even I will put forth that that's a questionable statement for myself. Pugilistic, perhaps straight to the point, sir.
Hmm.
given what we know now as well, the faster we can get this done, the less chance that one has of wakening up.
I will be honest with you. Sounds to me, personally, like you're thinking this problem through a little too hard. Have you considered avoiding the child? It is a child, and the last time I checked, they don't usually seek out adults that happen to be in
The,
cemeteries.
the issue isn't us avoiding the child, it's the child avoiding us.
Hmm.
Once we arrive, it'll be like strands of thread upon us in it. Somehow our paths will inevitably cross. That's how these
Of
things happen.
course. But if it has access to us, we can also deliberate that it must therefore have access to that of which we are hunting. There will be protections in place, I would imagine, no? If not, then it's an even playing field and I don't fucking care.
Do you normally put booby traps to keep your dogs out of a room?
Usually I can train my dogs. It doesn't sound like you so much train these children of light, or whatever you were calling them, so much as you avoid or slaughter them.
I imagine he
I
does have
only
some
killed
sort of
two.
safety precautions in
You also
place, if
missed the
not booby
part,
traps.
I guess, where I said that the child lives at the church.
Yes, we're going
Exactly,
to a
I remember
crypt,
that.
are we not?
The
Or are
crypt's
these the same
entrance is
building
within
and
the
I've
church.
simply missed this part? Ah.
The crypt, yes, it's within the church, which is why we have to go. Well, I suppose if we were going to have to sneak anyway, so we might as well sneak the entire thing, go into the crypt, go yada yada hooda. I doubt some little girl's going to end up in an undead crypt. However, on the off chance that she does, Lillian,
Mhm.
I seem to have misplaced my machete. Do you have my machete on you?
I do not have your machete, but I do have a number of machetes to select from.
Can I borrow a machete, please?
Certainly, they're in the carriage.
Motherfucker! All right.
If you needed to use
If we
something to
do,
make,
we decapitate them. I'm gonna do something cool.
if you needed
Hmm.
to, if you needed to use something to make your point, just use one of the knives.
But it's not as cool with a knife.
I
Your
thought the
English
only.
knives are small and petty and
Also, do not
I'm
try
sorry,
not
are we
to
looking at the
go.
same knives? I know you don't usually fight on the street, but have you seen an English knife? We have to make up for things, you know?
Yeah, you have to make them up because they're non-existent.
Technically, at this point in history, guns have not been outlawed in the UK yet.
I know, but it's,
Yes, but
it's still good
we do-
sense.
Yes, but there is the consensus that aren't used within street fights still because of the issues within the UK, and how guns going off can cause fire because black powder.
Mm.
I'm not sure what you
That
fight over
means-
there in America, but we have homemade knives, shivs, imported fineries. We take a little bit of every little colony that we have, you see. And the last time I checked, I believe the Indians know how to make knives.
Plus, we have machetes.
You're first off, that's a kukri, not a knife. Wait, no cookies.
And when a man has a
Anywho,
kukri in your
and-
face, are you to tell him what type of blade it is? I don't. I just punch him.
Yes, because I have a fucking Bowie knife.
Add on to that.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, that's. I have to say, I'm a fan.
Mine's bigger than yours, motherfucker. As Wolf walks on out.
Yes, but add on to that, it's not a knife, it's a spoon.
Bowie knife is
Oh,
a
you
spoon.
had to make it. Is it even philosophical? Or are you just being a moron again?
Yes, Bowie knives existed in the 1850s.
I don't know, but I think I just invented knife
Yeah,
and
but-
spoony.
Yes, Bowie knives have existed for a long fucking time.
How I
Oh.
haven't missed you.
Also,
Mallory's
most of your guns are ours. And Wolf's already left Mallory's abode.
She's just like sipping on what might be tea is probably blood.
For what it's worth, guns
As
are
you-
in poor
as watching
taste.
this.
Certainly in a street fight, anyway. That is what we're talking about, right? If not, I mean,
You have a gun. Besides, I don't know where I got it, but I have one.
yes, I believe you have an amendment for that, I think.
At least Anik still has a very big collection of guns upstairs. I don't know what she doesn't use them much at the moment.
Is that you saying that we can take them?
I think she'll hunt you for them when she gets back if she sees any are missing.
I mean, aren't you her boss?
We have a contract.
One that favors you more than her, I'm assuming.
To an extent. But that's only
Good,
because
so that makes
I'm
her
not
your
allowed-
bitch, right?
I'm not allowed to blood bond her, so
Well, yes. But I mean, basically already put her in the ball and chain.
only until our deal
I mean, I've seen
concludes.
her hopes are being crushed bit by bit. Every time I see her, she looks a little bit more desperate, a little bit more depressed. Depressed.
Right,
Yeah.
I think that
It's
we've
the way to
spoken
talk.
long enough. I can feel him jumping off the deep end, and that is saying something.
I'm
So
always
before
off the
he
deep
says
end.
something that gets us in undue levels of trouble, I must bid you adieu.
To be fair, out of all of you, Wolf's the one who's shown the most decorum towards an elder.
Of course,
Ah!
but that is, of course, not saying much once he starts talking about thievery and eventually goes through with it.
What of a gangrel? People don't expect a lot from gangrel. We smile, we wave, we act like a good dog, and then we do what we want. So long as we show results, people like us. And he's already in the carriage. John, go someplace.
Right, we'd actually best go before he actually does leave without us. So I must bid you adieu. Gets up. Thank you for the tea, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You are a wonderful host.
Why, thank you, my dear.
You've mentioned so many excellently exciting things that I'm likely going to try and fight.
Though at some
Simply
point I
have to
may
watch
need
it.
to see about having a Tassim in my collection. I don't currently have one.
Character I've smooth brain.
Ooh, Lillian's got a love. That's out of character, by the way. He's in the cart.
Yes, yes.
Not looking to be in a collection, unfortunately.
Certainly sort of like shakes his head. Not sort of, sort of like, I need to find the right word here. Sort of shakes his head in a bit of a collection, question mark sort of way, like, to each their own, I suppose.
One day, I may have you and Zane in my collection. One of these nights.
I mean, I'd
Nah.
certainly have to make it well earned, of course.
Oh, not you.
Oh, right, I mean,
You're as basic as a brouhaha gets. Like,
whatever, I don't care. I'm sorry, I simply don't have it within me to care.
the one who's like making it worthwhile. Jeez. You were not invited to the collection, darling.
Oh,
They were. Pointing at
insulted.
Lillian and Zane.
Maybe I'll simply have to earn that right. Not that I want it.
You'd have to do something exceptional to warrant being in my collection.
I'm certainly not below setting myself on high standards. Won't be the first time, it won't be the last.
It makes me so sad that I can't have my darling Anik in my collection permanently.
Anyway, onwards and upwards. Maybe this will be the grand start on that quest.
Well,
Probably not. I don't even know what we're doing yet.
less upwards and more outwards, as in out the front door and into the carriage.
Yeah, Lillian's already bid adieu and is already leaving.
Finally gets into the carriage.
Just the mention of being in the collection, it's like,
Uh-huh.
walking out the door.
Yeah, bye. Bye-bye.
No, as soon as Kaz is in the carriage, you just go like, anyone else find it weird that we're trying all we can to try and avoid two people ended up being in the collection? Meanwhile, Jax is wanting to do everything he can to try and get at least considered for the collection.
He's desperate. Get in.
I'm already in. I'm here.
Zane was
comes in.
like one of the first out
way.
of the door behind Wolf.
Flattering and also very unpleasant to think about.
The door will shut after you've all left.
Mhm.
And you are all back in the carriage.
How much time is left in the night?
It was already around 3 a.m. by the time you got to Mallory's.
So everyone go and get the rest and gather back up during next night to sort things out.
I am famished.
So am
You've
I,
still
but
got
it's
probably at least an hour by the time you get back to the hotel to like get something to eat.
to get someone to eat.
You know, making a little bit of a midnight snack, or however you want to put it.
Oh, it's gone way past midnight at this point.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you are on like 3 hunger.
Yeah, I am a hungry bitch.
I forgot how much hunger I'm on. Oh,
Mhm.
technically two, I guess, given it goes like the little like clear
Now,
Yeah.
before you all start heading your own way, how about
No,
you
you're on one.
actually fill me in on what our end goal is here? I understand we're off to hunt some. Gotta fill me in a little more now.
Well, what else is there to fill you in on? We've been sent out on another one of these tasks.
We are
Why?
also trading an individual that is amongst said group. To an
All
individual
right.
who gave us
Why are
advice.
we hunting this individual? It's my turn for my 20 questions.
Because if
Above
we don't,
game, you're not particularly hunting him as you're hunting the people he's hiding, which are the vampires that are being created. You were in the game at the point where you discovered these creatures. Um,
so you
the
remember those
ones who go on.
you remember those vampires that were being created before?
Somewhat.
That's the person that we're tracking down is a person that's helping to make those. And therefore, we track him down, we find out where he is, and we put a stop to this.
I see, I see.
Granted, not so much a case of we need to stop him, although I guess that might be a benefit. More a case of we just need to stop the experiments.
It does serve to reason the failure to stop him would simply be a continuation of such a
That was my thoughts, exactly.
experiment, with the little quotation marks, of course. But, well, it serves to say, sometimes you gotta cut off the source. And I've never heard that go gently in history, huh? Please don't take away this excuse for me to take a shot at a bigwig, huh? So he's out in this crypt, huh? And he's got his little star-crossed lover child at the door. I'm not too concerned with the child. Even if it does decide that we're interesting, I can't imagine it's too difficult to get out of their sight, trick them out of their way. We're a resourceful bunch, right? Better's damn well still be. That can't have changed in 10 days, right? Better not have changed in 10 damn days.
I mean, add on to that, we've got to deal with the two ghouls in bad faith.
Ghouls. Fun. Be a bit disappointed there wasn't something worth my strength in there.
Yeah, think of it as a case of worth your talents and more a case of worth stopping so they don't become a little alarm.
Of course, of course. Don't get me wrong, I'm not looking past how dangerous ghouls can be.
Especially
I just don't like my
given,
fights boring.
especially given some of us may be able to pass, others are Zane.
Zane has his mask now.
Yes, and do you remember what the masks look like? It's horrifying.
I mean, he's still ugly, but he looks human with it.
He looks remarkably better, though.
He just looks like an ugly person now, like an ugly human, not an ugly vampire.
It took him from a -10 to a 2.
A 2's still better than a -10.
Yeah, I mean, it's not got a
Let's
minus in
put it
front
this
of it,
way.
so let's.
While he's got his mask on, he no longer looks like a corpse.
Well, the problem is he didn't. The problem isn't that he looked like a corpse. The problem is he looked like somebody had stepped in a pile of shit.
And then
That's very
proceeded to make
common
it look
amongst
human.
Nosferatus. Or if in Victoria's case, it looks like she's had her face skinned. Not very well.
Thinking on it, if the ghouls are passing as a nun and a pastor, that means that they're probably in close relations to the child, so it would be definitely prudent to take care of the ghouls first.
I mean, you'd say that, but therein lies the issue as well. If they're close with the child, we can't kill the ghouls. So if we kill the ghouls, then the kid is going to think their life is at risk nest if their custodians are gone. And that could enter an awakening. And if they awaken, we're all fucked 7 ways from Sunday.
We don't necessarily have to kill the ghouls, just disable, right?
Knock
I
them on the
think
head.
you're all overthinking this. We can't make a real plan until we've seen the layout, and we won't know exactly where the pawns are on the board until we are presiding over it. That is, we need to go there first.
Well,
Yes,
I was
we are
about to
going there.
I was about to actually suggest something about that while we do our hunts for the night. Wolf. He is not there, is he?
Wolf?
Sorry, what? I was not paying attention to anything any of you all were saying.
Could you send some of your compatriots to try and scout out the area?
What area?
The place that we're supposed to be going to try and take this person down?
What you giving them as payment?
I imagine there's some decent Gruyere cheese.
Yeah, they can help themselves to
Oh,
whatever
yes,
cheese they find in the convent as well.
These are rats, my friend. Grade A rats. Not your run-of-the-mill squirrel. Squirrels are stupid. Rats are smart. Also, every rat is a little businessman. They understand economics very well.
Well, what would your rats like?
$500 and a wheel of cheese.
Still find it funny that technically your thalamus is still with the kid vampires.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know that. You giggle, but I am dead serious for the first time I have ever met you.
No, I'm certain to have a wheel of cheese at least. Not sir.
And $500. Wait, what is $500 in pounds? What is your currency?
Very different at this stage.
Yes, it's what sterling.
Yeah.
What is
Considering back in the
called?
1800s, you could probably buy like an apartment for £10.
Yeah, £500
Right.
would probably make you a billionaire at that point. Not literally, but a lot.
£391. That's what they're
Still a
asking.
millionaire. Very rich person.
Perhaps I might be able to provide something of a scout. I'm not entirely certain what I'm going to tell society so interesting about the cemetery, but it won't be the first time they've gone somewhere rather out of the way.
What, you gonna tell your big burly men that there's other big burly men to fight in the cemetery?
Or are you gonna go tell them to be rambunctious?
Maybe I will. I'm
Why am I just
certainly
Be
sure to be
imagining?
rambunctious to
stuffed.
the other big burly men in the cemetery?
I'm just imagining just like this group of like Peaky Blinders-esque mobs just rock up to like this small church and cemetery. Like,
Hey, maybe we have a few people to pay respects to. You never know till you get there. Right? Of course I'm right.
well, where's there?
Cemetery.
Which cemetery?
The cemetery.
There are many cemeteries.
There's a cemetery, right? I'm sure there's been a cemetery mentioned in conjunction with
but-
this crypt.
Yes. But where is the crypt?
Oh.
Where's
it's
the
not.
parish? You know who the territory belongs to, but not where said territory is.
Well, of course, but I imagine someone else here knows. Right?
The Count of Monte Cristo. What was the question?
You do know which crypt we're talking about, right?
Why would I know what fucking crypt we're talking about?
Of all of the time you had to ask questions and you didn't think to ask which crypt. You simply got
It's
on
the
a hold
crypt
of it.
in the church. She literally said it was a crypt in the church.
And
No,
You know how
where?
many crypts are in the
parish.
church?
And which church
parish,
in
sorry.
England? There's 30 of them.
She
You
said
go
it's
to the one
not
where
in the
Montclair
city.
lives. No, it's not in. It's not in Manchester. We go to the one where Montclair lives.
And where? He's on the city.
I don't know. I'm not from I'm not from England. I came here and then I was put with you guys. You guys are from the area. You ever heard of a man named Montclair?
Well, I suppose we could ask the Duke, given that they aren't in the greatest of graces with each other.
Baron.
Baron, pardon. Duke Baron. Out of character, that was just me flumping. Not
That's
I know.
Lily.
That's why I correct. I wasn't correcting you out of malice, purely just to remind you.
You
But
could
we'll
ask the
go-
Baron, but
You could
Mallory
ask
did
the
tell
Baron,
you that he does not know about the Child of True Faith at this moment in
and he
time.
finds out about that, then it's a whole pickle.
I can't believe you didn't think to ask this much. Oh
I
well.
wasn't the one asking the questions.
That's why I did look at you all and ask you if you had questions for them.
You must understand I've been out of the loop for 10 days. I presumed that this question that you didn't ask would simply be because you already put the pieces together. My mistake.
Damn it, we're 20 years away from the invention of the phone book.
There is a kind of thump on top of the
It's
carriage.
why I was looking through my skills and everything then to see if there's
Oh,
something I could
wait,
use.
hold on. Don't you guys
No.
have an ABC book?
I was looking through my thingies to see if there was something I could roll to see if I would know.
No. You guys literally have an
Uh,
address book called the ABC, isn't it? Is that around this time? When is the ABC?
I don't think the ABC book exists right
Does
now.
ABC murders take place? When was Agatha Christie alive? She's alive in the 17th. Oh no, okay, ABC. Okay, yeah, no, that's way later. Way later. For some reason, I thought the ABC Railway Guide. I thought the ABC murders took place earlier. Oh well.
So there isn't really much right now that you can do to think about it. I can let you like roll like a general kind of intelligence, let's say, just add awareness to it to see whether you can think if you ever heard of Montclair Duloc.
Slash V roll pool 3 plus hunger 1. One success.
Please tell me. Okay, no.
You're not sure. You've never particularly heard of or interacted with a Montclair. It's a very odd name to you.
Does sound a little. Believe the term is French.
Also, like I said, like not long ago there was a thump on top of the carriage.
I certainly hope nobody's clawing up the top of the carriage.
That would probably be a little more repeated than a singular thump. Or Thrall has probably simply rolled itself backwards.
John's not that inelegant. John, something on the top?
He goes, "Yes, Mum, there's a person."
Who is it?
I can't rightly say, Mum. I've never seen her before.
Is she standing? Is she sitting? Is she face planted in a face full of her own blood?
She seems to be lounging, sir.
Huh.
Lounging! I'm
I
surprised you
suppose
even
we
know
should
that
stop
word.
long enough to let them in.
She seems right comfortable, Mum.
Perhaps tell such a comfortable lass as herself to let herself in, perhaps. Seeing as we quite clearly about to get her anyway.
He kind of goes, okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You can't hear another voice, by the way. Yes, that's right.
Just the series of them.
Very well, Mum.
Full-heartedly opening the door. What's going on? Hi, hello, who are you?
If you look up, you see a very familiar, like a very familiar necromancer sat on top of your carriage.
Is it
One of
comfortable
the
up there?
Sabat, who you met before. The
Ah,
one whose name you know to be Morgan. The one who's been following you with the wraith.
Yes. Is it comfortable up there?
Quite.
Would you like to come inside?
Hmm. I don't quite like the idea of being in an enclosed space with you all. We are not quite allies, if not adversaries.
I'm neither. Well, actually, that's a lie.
So, just for a thing, you know Morgan is a Hecate,
Yes.
but she is specifically the Scottish Hecates that really
Yeah.
fucking like money. Um,
Wolf will go inside and be like,
All right. Wait, when I come inside. John!
yes, sir.
Pull into an alley.
Of course, sir.
Right.
Yeah, I like that I can boss him around. One of these days I'm going to eat him, Lillian.
You know, all I have to do is tell him to stop listening to you, right?
I know. And that'll be the day that I eat him.
Mm.
That was the name. Dunser.
Gunther?
Dunsearn.
Yeah.
They are. They were assimilated in the early 18th century into the Giovanni clan.
Ah.
Um, but they're basically called the Bankers. They're mainly in Scotland,
Are they
and they're
constantly hounded by a person with a small electrical rat?
well, they're generally um they are a family, basically, of
Hmm.
vampires in terms of lore. They were a family that were ousted for cannibalism. Um, and it's, rumored that they're still cannibals. Uh, but they have a specific thing with money. Like they have a like several freaking like a discipline that's specifically money. Like they can obfuscate money or, talk to people to get money.
Hmm.
Um, basically everything money. And as John pulls off into the alleyway, I'm guessing you exit as the carriage comes to a stop.
Hmm.
She sits up on top of the carriage, looking down at you all as you exit. He's like,
Hmm. Quite a lot of chatter this evening. Hmm?
Hmm.
There's always a lot of chatter. It's what we do. It's why Cain gave our kind teeth as sharp as ours to chatter with.
Well, I did hear a rather interesting phrase. True faith?
Yes, it's a band I was working on for name-wise, kind of like an odd ironic thing.
just kind of rolls her
Wolf
eyes.
Wolf fully eyebrow up at Kaz, just like
What the fuck?
before looking back at the necromancer.
You are a little bit ballsy.
Hmm.
Yes.
Did she see you?
Hmm. No, I don't think she did. Or if she
as
did,
far
she
as
did
you're
not
aware.
comment.
She's allied with the Baron, and as far as I know, he doesn't take well to Sabat.
Well, she is allied with the Baron at the moment. But we both know she's older than him. And the man isn't doing fine.
Even I'm older than him. Not by much, but still.
The man is not faring well under the load on his shoulders.
But yes, you heard the phrase true faith. Oh,
Yes.
by the way,
Hmm?
I don't believe you met our acquaintance this year. Is James? No, wait, that's wrong. John. No. What is it again?
He says, looking at Jax.
Jax. Capable of making his own introduction, of course.
Could have fooled me.
I've seen him before.
Well, I'm glad that my name's finally getting to some interesting ears. And what brings such an interesting pair of ears to rest so brazenly upon top of our carriage?
Well, as I said, I heard the phrase true faith mentioned. That's never something good.
Oh, it certainly isn't.
So I thought I'd come inquire for my dear Vivian and see what this was all about. We don't want anything messing with our plans. You see?
We're dealing with it.
Are you?
At the moment, no, but we will be.
And can you, all ragtag coterie, deal with it?
Well, I was thinking the old-fashioned way. A little bit of decapitation, bloodbath, screaming, distracted. You know. I mean, you can also always convince it that it's a witch, burn it at the stake, put that level of trauma inside of it. Of course, that'll lead it to awakening. Or we just tell the Baron and let a civil war roll in. Who the fuck do I care about it? At that point, it's bound to die eventually. That or it'll just go boom. Put enough stress in it and put enough pressure, it'll blow up, and it's lively to take a couple kindred. Sure. It's also lively to take even more kind. So, at the end of the day, win-win.
Well, you sound positively Sabat with that opinion.
And you sound positively positive. I don't know where I was going with that. What's the conversation again?
What are, so eloquently put to compatriot, so eloquently put forth, is that we haven't gotten as far as perhaps determining exactly how to deal with a magical child in a magical church, but suffice to say, without much information, what more can we do? It seems everyone needs to go and have their din-dins. And it seems that nobody actually knows exactly where this church is located, so no one can get eyes on it.
And aside from being in a certain person's territory.
Yes, the French-sounding Claire Dumont. Surely a popular name around these parts, right?
Claire Dumont.
Claire Dumont.
Talks with the dead, does a little bit of shades, messes around with churches, nuns, children of true faith. You ever heard of them?
Oh, you mean Montclair du Loc? Not Claire de Mont.
What does it
What Claire
matter?
do,
With a
he's an
name
idiot.
that French, any order will do, and a good crossbow.
You assume that all necromancers know each other.
I make no assumptions at the slightest. You're a necromancer. Never would have told if it weren't for the little bone
I mean,
necklace.
I assume the spirits talk.
They do.
Any super religious ones these days?
Hmm. Perhaps. But information isn't free.
Ah, shocker! For a moment then, you really took it out of my expectation of a plot twist. Goodness, even Kaz hasn't come that close. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Kaz has never come close to a plot twist, predictable as all sin.
Then you really missed out on all the times you weren't here, then.
No, I didn't.
Don't mind them, they're having a little bit of a couple spat.
Hmm.
A domestic every now and again keeps you right and ready for the real fighting.
Well,
What the
Like
fuck
that.
is wrong with you? Even by my standards, that was a little bit. Wow. Okay.
Have to break it up somehow. Not like that.
Uh huh.
well, you know the turn of phrase. Money, talk.
The last time I checked, it was fairly silent. It's the things you give it to talk, right? Do you have money? 'Cause I don't.
I mean, you do. You've been paying.
Not on me. I'm not that stupid. Not in Manchester.
Isn't this about the time that we would technically be able to write out checks and shit?
Mm, she probably wouldn't take checks. She needs
That's
the
fair.
coin, the cash, the moolah.
I have a cookie and a gold
Perhaps.
doubloon.
She looks at the doubloon, holds out her hand.
Not
Wait, he takes a bite of it.
The cookie or the
wait, if this
doubloon?
one's real, where's the chocolate one?
He starts to look very concerned as he hands the gold coin. He takes a bite out of the cookie as well. There's a thud as the cookie's metallic.
Why do I have these on my person?
We've
She
been
starts,
asking that question since the day you got here.
she starts examining the doubloon.
It was a very pretty piece. I'd say I'm sad to see it go, but I didn't even know he had it.
I strangled a man in Kentucky for it.
Ah.
Where was Kentucky around by this point? I believe it was, but I need to double check. Yes, Kentucky was around by this point.
A Kentucky
She-
Pride doubloon, huh?
She's looking it
What the
over. And you see there's kind of like the faint kind of swirl of magic around her hands as she does. And she kind of squints at it and like turns it over and is very thoroughly examining it. The magic kind of going around it as she did. And she kind of then grips it in her hand and goes, "Very well. This will do."
You're an interesting necromancer, did you say? Don't normally see them
It's
know
not
so much about
usual.
money.
Necromancer is just it's just the common term.
Oh,
Really.
please, I love being on actual title bases. It's good for business, right? Contrary to what many people seem to see me as, I am a business owner.
Technically, I'm under 3 different titles. Since the whole absorption thing.
Good. It's always good to have multiple business cards for the right name, right?
Overall, most necromancers fall under Hecate. I am part of the Giovanni families, but more specifically, the Duncian.
Well,
Is that enough for you?
it's only fair that I put forward everything about myself in return. Everyone calls me a Bruja, but personally I like to put forth as the front man of the Mancunian Gentlemen's Society, making sure that the thugs on your front doorstep get the beating that they so eloquently need, and making sure that the fire pits around here stay nice and well stocked. It's a good bit of business. Don't let the thug side of things turn you away from that.
Would you like a loan, by any chance? Expand your business?
Not normally the way I expand my business, but thank you for the offer. I prefer a little more. I believe the term is strong arm. And trust me, my arms are strong.
Anyway, this doubloon will cover payment.
As you see, she kind of flips it in her fingers a few times, and then there's two of them. Before she kind of looks at you all and goes,
There were talkings of some spirits recently. Those who are flocking to a particular place, hoping to get a second chance at redemption, crossing the pearly gates. You know the whole spiel. The down. It was a little church parish down in what was it called now? Such a droll place.
Oh no.
Um, somewhere down in Sheffield.
Oh shit, let's Red Inferno, lad.
she's in Chesterfield.
Oh, that changed since the last time we talked.
To be more specific, a little area known as Plumbly.
Lovely.
That's a good
Plumbly.
name. Ah. Well, I certainly won't be doing any scouting, and I don't think the rats will either. That's quite the distance.
Hmm.
I believe you'd have to pass the Yorkshire Peaks to get there. Suffice to say,
Yorkshire what?
hills, my American friend, hills. I know it's very flat where you come from, mostly.
Motherfucker, we have mountains. We have the Rocky Mountains, we have the Appalachians. What the fuck do you have here? The biggest
Hills,
mountain you have. Yes,
hills.
your hill.
We
They're still
do.
smaller than your prime ministers.
I mean, the Peak
Ah,
District.
well, I can't really fault him for that one. We have what's
The
called the
Peak
middle
District is
ground
the more
here. We don't do
the-
flats and mountains. We have these things called hills. You'll meet them when we're going over them.
We do have some mountains in the UK.
But not in England. We're not allowed them. Scotland stole all of them and fucked off.
But yeah, it's in Plumbly.
Plumbly. Great, Plumbly Wumbly.
Hmm.
Sorry.
You expected me to say something about a place named Plumley?
I mean, you do realize there is the Peak District, which is right near, not far from Manchester, which has a bunch of mountains in it.
Oh, I know, but Wolf obviously doesn't. We saw
No.
mountains on our way to England, so like,
I'm just more saying for Jack.
folks, like any American tourist, being there once for about a week, 2 weeks, makes me immediately an expert.
Expertise. That was an EP sound.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just a
You
yawn.
feeling it?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, I was gonna say we've got quite the travel.
Mm.
Yep.
Indeed,
So
but
it's down in Sheffield.
wouldn't it be best to start the travel next night? Or at the very least, get some feeding done and then see. Does this carriage block light?
Mm. This carriage is made for long travels, yes.
Yes, but I mean long travels for this many people holding enough places for us to rest
Except
in.
if I remember correctly, a certain somebody requires dirt to rest in.
Hmm.
He
Yeah, I
says,
don't.
looking at you, Liliana.
Lillian,
Lillian.
not
Sorry.
Liliana. Also, if I remember correctly, it's not specifically dirt that I need to sleep in. I just got to make sure that I have something of my own.
Yes, but Wolf's being facetious about it.
Hmm. Unless you plan on sleeping in a kennel, my dear sir.
Regardless, you know a place now. And I have.
And she flips in again. There's 3 doubloons now.
More doubloons.
You act
Also,
like I give a shit about currency. I'm a gangrel.
And I am hungry. Can we hurry up and get this on?
well, it's
Yeah.
been good to meet you, but I again must bid you adieu. Thank you for the
Oh,
information. Certainly will put it to
sorry.
excellent use.
Delightful as
I'll
usual.
be keeping an eye.
As I would expect, when things are
Well,
quite
your
as
friends,
interesting as they are here, huh?
your friends have a deal with my boss
Hmm.
to deliver a certain child for her.
You have a what now?
Yes, I
We'll
did
explain
mean
on the ride.
Right. I don't normally question exactly what you all get. Yeah, that's like you know, they don't exactly.
I mean, to be fair,
Nope,
out of
it's still Scotch.
character, you don't know that they also made a deal to give one of the other daughters of Cacophony to Mallory.
Yes, but one piece of chaos at a time. I don't normally question exactly what it is that you all get up to, but since when did we start dealing in children?
in all fairness, they technically aren't children anymore.
They're abominations, atrocities, little things that go boom when you're not watching.
They
Exactly.
stay
So
in
children.
your. They stay in your society you've got here with Anarchs and Camarilla. They'll just be slaughtered. Useless. Can be used where I'm from.
I, 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 I
Used as
softly.
a relative term, I don't imagine many of you would like having a bunch of abominations and atrocities running around. It's the one thing all 3 might agree on.
Oh yes,
However,
but before
you're
they turn into
unorthodox.
white, They have uses, especially ones with their abilities. And then whites can be useful on their own. Drop them in the right place and watch it go boom.
Listen, I get the point now.
Unorthodox.
Mhm.
Can't say I don't like it, but unorthodox.
Vivian doesn't like to do things by halves. Anyway,
Mm.
have a good dirt nap. Try not to die.
Hmm.
I'll be keeping an eye on you all from a distance.
Oh, goody.
And then she'll just kind of wave her hand and she'll disappear in a shadow.
Except she literally can't with Wolf's Haven, so she's only keeping an eye on the building when
Yeah,
he's inside.
she's watching the building he's inside, but she can easily watch
I
everyone
have.
else. So
I have supernatural protection, baby.
she does just kind of essentially disappear into the shadow.
And just like
Um,
that, she's gone.
No, she's not.
Not really.
No. So, we're gonna go get snacks?
Yes, please.
so you all go to feed at your usual feeding spots. Kaz, you have your herd.
Indeed.
Lillian, you have your hotel patrons.
My
Jax, you like to
pantry is
fight for your
thoughtful.
food. So I believe
Pulling
you're
a
an
dead
alley
person
cat.
out of a river.
Yeah, you're an alley cat. Which means you like to go stalking the alleyways and get in a fight before you eat your food. But you're not that hungry anyway. To be fair, Lillian's the only one in kind of the danger zone for hunger.
Yeah.
Because
Welcome to
everyone else is on 1, Lillian's on 3. So I'll say you have your regular methods of feeding that are tried and true. Lillian, you're a sandman. Yeah, so you wait till they're
Yes.
asleep.
do 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 do.
So from you, I would like a bit of a stealthy stealth and dexterity, please, to sneak into a room and take your pick.
Would I argue awareness over stealth given the fact that this is technically where I've been, quote, living for the past however long?
Okay, yeah, I'll allow it. You're very aware of the surroundings and how to get in and out.
Uh, Bear with me as I try to remember. It is slash V
Slash
roll.
V roll.
Hmm.
Remember to add hunger.
And hunger, I just do 1, right?
Yeah, always.
Success!
To success. So, as you stalk around, you manage to find a patron to feed on. Someone you fed on before who you know is a particularly heavy sleeper and stays with you quite often.
Ah, yes, my favorite.
And you feed. Do you feed
I,
all the way? Or just enough?
probably just enough. I mean, I don't want to eat my best patron, obviously.
You manage to pull yourself back from the edge. That hunger almost drawing you over. You still feel hungry. But not enough now that it's not gnawing at your stomach.
Hmm.
And you head back to your haven for the night. as the rest of you? Do you head back to your own personal havens, or Kaz, do you stay at the Queen's Hotel for the night? Don't all speak at once.
Sorry, I heard Kaz and assumed that's who.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Do you all return to your own personal havens for the night, or do you stay at the Queen's Hotel?
Oh, Wolf is going back.
Spent more than enough time in his own personal quarters. It's he almost misses the hotel.
So you're staying
Almost.
at the hotel. Kaz,
Okay. Yeah.
Leigh, there. Are you staying at the Queen's Hotel or going back to your loft above the theatre?
Better not tell us I don't have the things yet to make that my hideout, do I?
You can still stay there. It's just not protected. That's the
Yeah,
only
that's what I mean. So I'll
problem with
stay at
it.
the hotel because the hotel's protected.
Not as well protected as wolves, but yes, it is.
It's more protected than it would be me stopping in my own place.
Well, yeah,
That's why
considering
Wolf's
it's
at
literally
his
a ledge above
Exactly.
the theater.
Exactly. So I'll stay at the hotel.
The
Zane
only
will
thing about
hold
Wolf
on.
is it's super because it's a
Yeah.
morgue. Flaws. It's super.
Zane is also staying at the hotel. Victoria is there. She's just kind of been staying there, trying to keep out of trouble as much as she can. But yeah, you all rest for the night. Well, for the day, we should say. And you would rise to a new night where everyone needs to make a rouse check for me.
I don't remember how to do this. How do we do this?
Slash. Why isn't slash working? It's not
That's
working.
V rouse. Wolf's immediately eating something anyways when he wakes up. He
It's
always
not
does.
coming up with the menu for me.
Oh, we're good.
Why does the menu not coming up? There, now it is. What the fuck? It wasn't coming up at all then. Like for the first few times I tried to like look at it. So Kaz is a little bit hungrier this morning. Lillian and Jax are both waking up fine, and Wolf's a bit hungrier, but he's probably going to be snacking on some fingers. So,
Finger food.
and on this new night, you gather up at the Queen's Hotel. And before we get into this next part of the journey, we're going to end it a bit early this week because it feels like a pretty good stopping point. And I have been forgetting to give you all XP for a little bit. So everyone is going to get 6 XP this session.
Yay? Yay.
Yay! 12.
So XP, you spend it.
Ah, yeah, I can work with
So
that. I have plenty enough
you look,
40k.
if you look in the journal on Roll20, there is guides for keywords and the cost of things via XP.
Did you give me the XP or am I adding more XP to that XP?
Add it to what's on your sheet.
I have XP
So
on my
everyone
sheet.
should have 12 in total.
Oh wait.
Where's that?
On the reverse.
Oh yeah, reverse.
You've got 6 listed currently.
Yeah, so this extra 6 that we just got makes it 12.
So yeah, for
I'd have not
the
spent any
sake
yet.
of no one has really. For the purpose, blood potency is not something you're going to be increasing.
Okay.
So scratch that one. Other disciplines that aren't your clan disciplines, you need another vampire to teach you how to use those. But yeah, so, and for any attribute or skill increase, you take the new level once you've increased it and times it by 5 or 3, depending on whether it's a skill or an attribute, and that's the cost of what it costs to upgrade it. It's the same with disciplines. Advantages are just 3 per dot. Specialties are 3 as well. So if you wanted to like get a specialty under a skill, that sort of thing. So all of you should have 12 XP. You don't need to spend it right away.
I just realised I was muted all this time while I was trying to ask a question.
Oh, what? What's up?
If I were to take the firearms up to the third dot, that would be 9 then. Given it's the third dot times 3. 3 times 3 is 9.
Yeah, it costs 9 to upgrade it, yeah.
Okay, I get it. I'm trying to remember how much we said it would be to increase my... Because it's an advantage, if I recall right.
The Haven?
Yeah.
To get a new advantage, it is 3. But that'd only give you the first dot an advantage.
Yeah, and
Which
then if I were
means
to do another one onto that, it'd be the second dot for an advantage. And I don't know what it would be for... Oh, 3 per dot, so it's just 3 and then another 3.
So with your Haven, I'm trying to remember what each dot does. Look in front of me. But each dot does increase like the size and security of the Haven. So base Haven is small but more secure and private. Basements, apartment, crypt, locked room in a warehouse, that sort of thing. 2, good size and security, simple family home, row house, wolf enclosure at the zoo.
Wolf
Branch in
has
a
an
sewer
enclosure
tunnel.
at the zoo?
I'm just reading out the examples, but yes, apparently so. 3 is very large, secure, or private, a compound outside of town, a bank building, decommissioned subway station. So basically, your base haven is about as secure as like a little apartment. Or like a locked room in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Bigger, every time you increase it, it can be bigger as well.
Oh, that
I don't think
haven
you
like that.
necessarily have to make it bigger, but it can be bigger. And it's generally more secure.
So if I took
And
this
private.
So if I do that as 2 dots for Haven, that equals 6 points spent.
Which one do you want to increase it to? Sorry, like
I've given it 2
just
dots, so
2 dots.
that takes it up to 6 points spent.
Yeah. So you're increasing it. So basically, yours is on level with what Neek's is right now,
Yeah.
which is what Mallory is saying.
Alright, so 2 dots into stealth.
Mainly so I can then spend another 6 to take awareness up to 2 dots. Or investigation. Awareness. Awareness is basically our version of like a perception. So take that up to 2 dots. So that's 12 points spent.
Yep. What were you trying to do, Rana?
thinking of adding 2 points into stealth, which would put it back to being 6 points that I have remaining.
Is stealth at 0?
Stealth was at 0.
Then it wouldn't cost 6 points because it cost.
It cost you 3 for the first one.
Yeah, and then it'd cost 6. It'd cost
6 for the second dot.
6 for the second dot, so it cost you 9 in total.
Okay. So I have 3 points remaining. Which I could probably put into something else if I really wanted to.
Also, I guess while we're just sorting out this part, I can do the thing of thank you so much. Tune in for Devil Darlings also here on this channel. We'll see you next time.
Yes.